What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Criminal Minds Season 12, Episode 14, Collision Course. So, I was wondering what they were going to do now that Spencer's kind of in jail and he's about to go on trial and stuff like that. I was wondering if it was going to be mainly focused on Spencer and trying to get him out of jail and that case and all of that, or if they're just going to kind of put it to the side for now. Ultimately, they do a little bit of both. They don't focus extremely on the trial, but they have another case going on while the stuff with Spencer is also going on. So it's almost like split half and half, where you follow the people that are on the case that are following this guy who's hacking into cars and killing people with cars, and then the other side of it is you're watching Spencer as he's talking to Prentice's friend, who's a defense attorney. So we see all this going on, and ultimately a lot of it is kind of predictable. Like we see the guy involved in the hacking into the cars. It is kind of inventive. It's a new type of serial killer than we've seen before, but ultimately it turns into the same old thing, which is he's been rejected by these people. I don't think we ever really learned exactly why he has a specific type. He keeps going after these brunettes, and we never really. I don't know if we ever learned why he was going after them. I mean, obviously, if they rejected him, that's why. But I thought we were going to learn like a deeper seated meaning as to why he was becoming angry with them, or why he was targeting a specific type of woman on this dating website. And if they ignored him, then he went after him. But we didn't really learn that. But as far as the idea behind that, as far as the idea behind him hacking into the car and then taking control of it, and then now they can't control it anymore, and then he has them hit somebody. Yeah, that part was pretty creative, and I like how they use that, and I like the different ways they use that effectively. However, there was one thing that kind of stood out to me as a little bit cheap, and that is whenever they're interrogating one of the first people to have hit somebody with their car. Tara's doing the little cognitive interview, and normally we see it from their point of view, like we see what's going on. For some reason, they decided they didn't want to use the extra money, I guess, to film a bit more, to film from her point of view inside the car, because we just hear the noise. We just hear the noise behind it. And I think that kind of takes something away from it. I think normally whenever we do these cognitive interviews, it's like we get to see it from their point of view. We get to see it as they saw it. And that's kind of unique. It's something that not a lot of shows like to do. But normally we have one every other episode or every 3 episodes. This one was like, we're just going to be lazy about it. We're just going to throw in some sounds that she hears while she's talking about it. And it just took something away from the experience, I thought. So it was a little something that kind of bugged me, but it is a problem. And I think hopefully they don't continue to do that if they have another cognitive interview. Hopefully they can look at that and say, okay, that didn't work very well. It didn't work with the scene. From now on, let's film it. Let's actually show what's going on. But as far as the rest of the case, like I said, it was inventive, but it did boil down to kind of just a simple: this guy gets rejected by girls, and that's why he's killing people. On the Spencer side of it, though, a little bit more interesting because we see the DA offers him a deal, and at first it's 2 to 5 years, which is a very good deal considering if it's murder, it could be 25 to life. And that kind of shows, they don't have that much evidence, so they just want to offer him a small deal, hoping he'll take it and doesn't have to go to trial. But then the murder weapon is found in the desert, and it's got Spencer's blood and his prints on it, and so now the deal pops up to 5 to 10 years. And I do have a little bit of a problem with this because everybody's treating this like, oh, it's a bad thing. But the thing is, we've seen Spencer remember somebody else stabbing her, and on top of that, he's got a cut on his hand, so that kind of goes to prove the fact that there was a defensive wound, not an attacking wound. So, I don't know, it seemed kind of weird that everybody, as soon as they found the murder weapon, everybody's like, oh no, it's got Spencer's prints and blood on it. Well, obviously, if he's got blood on his hand, he tried to grab it at some point, either protecting himself or trying to stop the attacker. So, I don't know, that part seemed weird to me, but the rest of it was very well done. You see the lady comes in, she's asking him all these questions, asking him if he remembers anything, putting a lot of pressure on him, until finally he just has this kind of eruption of emotion that he doesn't remember anything. He doesn't remember what happened. And at that point, she kind of realizes, okay, he's telling the truth, and so she agrees to represent him. But ultimately, it does lead to, like I said, kind of a predictable ending, where we're going through all of it, and there's a moment where they were talking earlier on about, what's going to happen with this trial. Is it going to go to trial? And Rossi said something about, well, as soon as it goes up for bail, I'll be willing to post whatever they say, no matter how high, I'll post a bail. And at that point, I was kind of like, he's not going to go up for bail, right? Like that's the only reason that they would throw that line in there, is if there's no way that they're going to put bail on it. And sure enough, it goes to trial at the very end, and bail isn't an option for Reed. The problem I do have with that, though, is that the reasoning is kind of flawed. Like the DA is saying, oh, well, he's a flight risk. He already tried to run in Mexico. And the attorney brings up a very good point. First of all, those are extenuating circumstances. He was in Mexico. He was under the influence of drugs. He had been drugged. But the judge just like, nah, I don't want to hear what you have to say or any of the witnesses that you brought up to testify. It's getting late. Just no bail for that guy. It seemed like she kind of rushed that decision without the proper consideration. Like, I understand that there are times when things run a long time, and especially in the justice system, things can feel like they run forever, and I would understand, if they feel that way. But as a judge, you shouldn't be partial to one side. And just because one side sounds like, oh, well, to talk about that would take a long time, but that side's quicker, so I'm going to go with that side. You shouldn't be doing that as a judge. I don't know if that's how it works. Probably it does, because the justice system, honestly, pretty flawed. But I don't feel like that's how it would work. I don't feel like a judge would just say, oh, okay, well, you have a bunch of witnesses to testify. I don't have time for that. So I'm just going to go with the fact that he ran in Mexico, even if he was under the influence of drugs. Yeah, no bail. It doesn't seem right. It just seems like they wanted to come up with some sort of reason why Reed couldn't go up for bail, just to make things more emotional at the end. And I feel like you could have done something else. You could have had them step up there and say certain things, but then all of a sudden the DA is asking questions that ends up disproving or discrediting the rest of the agents, for whatever reason. I feel like you could have done this so much more clever than just have the judge say, that's too much time. I'm not posting bail. So, yeah, all in all, though, it was still an interesting episode. Just those couple problems that were thrown in there, I do think need to be addressed, and I do hope that they look at some of the problems and say, okay, we need to fix this, or we need to make sure we don't make the same mistakes going forward. Because honestly, this is a story that I feel like you could really get a lot out of. It's Spencer on trial for possible murder. The final thing that I do want to talk about, though, is something that I don't think this show really considered, and that is whenever they're asking or they're talking to Reed, a lot of it was spent asking Reed, do you want to take the deal? Do you want to take the deal? What's your decision? And him saying, I don't know what I want to do. Because part of him thinks, well, I want to fight, and the other part of him's like, well, I can't, the chances are pretty low of us winning. But one thing that wasn't ever brought up that I think should have been brought up is his mother. And that's something that I think is very important. The fact that if he goes to jail, if he takes that deal, that's 2 to 5 years where his mother is in the care of somebody else. He doesn't get to see her. I don't think they considered that, and I don't think they paid that proper respect. That's something I think Spencer would instantly think, like, no, I have to fight this for my mother, so I can see her, so that way she can know her baby boy is not a killer, so I can see her every day, so I can be there to take care of her, even if I am doing this job in the FBI, which I still feel like in the end he may not have his job anymore because of everything that happened, which will suck because we need more Spencers on the team, not more Walkers. But either way, it's still overall a good enough episode. Those little things do kind of drag it down a little bit, but not enough, in my opinion, to make it a bad episode or an unenjoyable episode. There's still enough to really enjoy it. So, I think that's about it. So, oh, one more thing, just kind of a side note, something I did enjoy, Penelope got to go on the mission this time, and something about that just adds a little bit more fun to it. Like, just the way she's acting. Rossi's like, "You're coming with us." She's like, "Ooh, me, wheels up." Yes, sir. Just like, this is gonna be fun, and it was. She adds her own little flavor into everything. Even into when they're reading the profile. I mean, everybody's up there doing their speech, talking normal. I guess Walker, that's always how he talks. But you see, she doesn't change at all whenever she's up there. She's up there. She's not talking monotone. She's just giving it her all. She's talking to him and using her little catchphrases and stuff. It was funny. So yeah, just a little side note there, but that's about it for this episode. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What did you like and dislike about this episode? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Criminal Minds, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace out.